Hello guys, it's Lebanon Studios and welcome to the part 7 of this walkthrough series. In the previous video, we learned how to create this dispersion effect. In this video, I'll be showing you how I created this simple animation. If you're enjoying this series so far, then don't forget to like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get right into it. With my scene opened, I positioned a croc and inserted my first location and rotation keyframe. Then moving a few frames forward, I rotated it slightly about 360 degrees on the Z-axis. And then I proceeded in moving it a few meters upwards. Afterwards, I inserted a location and rotation keyframe. After playback, I jumped 5 frames forward and moved the croc slightly upwards to create momentum for the drop animation. Then I inserted a location and rotation keyframe. Afterwards, I jumped 10 frames forward and brought the croc a few meters downwards and inserted a location and rotation keyframe as well. I then jumped 12 frames forward and brought the croc a few meters downwards to create momentum for the rise animation. Then I inserted a location and rotation keyframe. So in this manner, I repeated this process till I reached the duration I was looking for. After playback, I headed over to the graph editor and I began to tweak the curves, particularly the parts where the croc rotates and transitions to another color. After I was satisfied with the tweaks, I positioned the camera and animated it to follow the croc when it rises. After animating the camera, I began to set up the lighting. And as I usually do, I turned off the ADR and background lighting. Then, I proceeded in bringing in a spotlight as well as a point light. I then rotated the spotlight a little bit and then I proceeded in tweaking the power value of the point lights. Afterwards, I enabled the ADR lighting and set the background to transparent. With my render settings ready, I brought in a UV sphere, placed it around the croc and shaded smooth. With the sphere, I wanted to diffuse the lighting to make the highlights softer. So at the shading tab, I brought in the translucent shader and plugged it into the material output. At the object tab, I turned the ray visibility of the camera off. After setting up the lighting, I proceeded in creating the color transition effects. With my original workflow, I took the lazy approach by basically just setting a render duration, starting at the beginning of the first color and ending at the point where it rotates a few frames forward, and then I just render it. So I repeated this process for the rest of the colors. However, the better way of doing this is by duplicating the diffuse image texture node. Then you add a mix shader node. Then afterwards, plug in both the image texture nodes into the mix shader node. Then plug it into the principal shader. Afterwards, change the duplicated image texture node to another color. So then with the factor slider, you can now animate the color transition. And that brings us to the end of this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you wish to support me, you can purchase my 3D assets on TurboSquid and CG Trader. It will mean a lot to me. Alright guys, thanks for watching and I will see you in the part 8 of this series. Take care and goodbye.